sit and relax and make sure you're fully attentive and ready to take part in this program we have in line for you today. So welcome, Brother Abdul Hakim.
And warm welcome to you too, and all who have joined us this special Thursday evening in the UK. Obviously, Sister, my co-host, Sylvina, has made it very clear, and it's very clear that the special guest we have today is a major champion in our community who has beaten back so much death amongst our women and amongst our men with the discipline that she has exercised within her own life and on her own being. And she really is a walking advertisement of health and well-being, because it's one thing to be telling people, what they should be doing for optimum health and not look so healthy. But Queen Afua, she has all the right in the world to represent this field, this area of health and well-being, because she is absolutely a manifestation of what she represents and what she teaches. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time, because I want us to use every second of our sister's time so that she can share with us, and you're going to have questions. And I don't want to, when 8:30 arrives, have to call this great evening to a close, knowing that we spent even a couple of minutes unnecessarily. So at this time, before I bring Queen Afua up, I'm going to bring up her son, her representative, a product from her great mind and her temple. And some of you may be familiar with her son, Supernova, who is a wellness warrior. A wellness warrior. And too many of us are wellness, part-time soldiers, but there's a wellness warrior we want to introduce you to. So please, Spiritual Injection, take your devices off mute at this time for a few seconds to welcome Supernova, the son of Queen Afua. Let's receive him with a well-deserved round of applause. Welcome, my brother. Warm welcome. And the throne is yours, my brother. Please introduce yourself. Let our people know in Europe who's listening to you from Paris, from Serbia, to Holland and Denmark and the Caribbean and in Africa, and back there in the United States of America. Please, my brother, welcome to the Spiritual Injection.
That's that tone we have to approach our body, mind, and spirit with in honor of our ancestors. See, we are the culmination of all that's mighty of our ancestors, but unless we are doing the daily work to affirm ourselves, we are not doing our melanated being any activity. We're just a walking melanated vessel without charge. And so Paul is 1 million men globally to holistic wellness.
Yes.
Our men have been emotionally devastated, mentally, spiritually. A lot of men are walking around with trauma from youth and from little boys, and they're growing into men without a way to express themselves holistically. Then they become toxic, masculine, dominant men that are not happy, even if they acquire all external trappings of life. So the call is to bring men to a formation where we hold each other accountable to the health, wellness, and fortification of our body, mind, spirit, so that we can be of better service to ourselves and ourselves, as a result to be of service to our women, children, and our glorious work in the world. I am blessed, beloved brother. So I greet you with Salam Alaikum, Abaragani, Ashe, Hotep, all of our greetings. I don't set trip and tribe trip because my DNA don't let me do it. My DNA is charged with all of my ancestors. How dare I chop and block and choose what I want to represent? All of my ancestors across the planet is activated in me. And so I am blessed, beloved brothers and sisters, to have authored this mighty text called Man Heal Thyself, the Wellness Warrior's Journey to Self-Mastery. This is a book that I wrote with my mother, Queen Afua. We offer twice a year. You can find this book on Amazon. My other book is called The Holistic Remedy, for those that want to know about detoxing and fasting. Both of them are on the Amazon.com. You can get them now. But dear beloved brother, the call to action of a million men in holistic wellness, when you look at our women are the leaders of self-care globally. Women always make time, beloved, whether they have many children, divorce, not with somebody, do multiple jobs, school. Women makes time to care for themselves. Our men have been taught that the value of themselves is outside of themselves. So they always compete to chase and grab opportunities outside of himself as a result, but he's empty inside. So it's about whatever you call the Most High, Allah, Jah, Yahweh, Inter, all of those glorious names, all of the glorious names, right? If you call the name of the Most High, you have to be a physical representation of the name that you're uttering.
Yes.
What it constitutes this shrine, mosque, temple, cathedral, which is your physical home? What is operating in the inside? So if you speak the glorious name of the Most High and your body state of consciousness is not reflective of what you're uttering, you're further perpetuating the chaos, right?
Yes.
So we offer with the Queen, in partnership with the Queen of Four Wellness Institute, my mother's school that Sacred Women are excitingly part of. It's an online training, beloved brother. We have brothers that are Muslims, brothers that are Kemites, all tribes. We don't set trip, right? all levels, Caribbean, African, Aboriginal, foundational Black Americans. It's a call to all of our men. It's an online 12-week training. And every 7 days, we take brothers through social, emotional, mental, and spiritual protocols, as well as herbal protocols, so he can begin to assess himself and build himself back up. It's predicated on the principles of the Nile Valley traditions called the Ari Toots, or our Eastern brothers called the chakras. So in the ancient Nile Valley, we also had a system that's even more older than the system in the Indus Kush Valley, based upon the energy centers. So every 7 days, brothers are given tasks to complete for himself, for his self-mastery, to work on, his doing his altar work, making sure that he does his spiritual observances as a Muslim, as a Christian, whatever his protocol is, right? But also aligning his responsibility to his ancestors, right? Because he's a connection to that. Also making sure that he affirms and confirms himself, doing his affirmations, making sure he does movement meditation, we call exercise, strength training, resistance training, also holistic protocols, drinking his water, taking his herbs. Every 7 days, he's given these tenets. And so the goal is, after 12 weeks of working on himself and using the collective as an accountability portal, because only still sharp and still and brothers can really square men away. Our affirmation is man's responsibility. After 12 weeks, he is knighted as the supreme man of optimum wellness. Yes. And it's his goal that he is being on the voyage to restore any blockage or unbalance in his life since childhood. He would have, after 12 weeks, with himself and his brothers on accountability, work through those issues to be the most supreme optimum man of balance and restoration. And so when we create a safe space where the brothers are not judging each other, whether you shed tears and whether you talk about experiences that were traumatic for you, divorce, dealing with your women, your children, what it's like to be a single father or raising a family, or some brothers have been raped and molested at a very young age. We don't judge. We open up the healing for our men to work on themselves and to use the healing collectively to hold each other accountable. And so that's called the Man Heal Thyself Wellness Warriors Training. We want our men to be warriors of their own wellness. Okay. And so when we talk about diabetes, hypertension, prostate issues, heart attacks that most men in the Western hemisphere deal with, I'm pretty sure overseas too, heart issues, that's an attack on our God-given vessel. So we must wage wellness war against all disease, body, mind, and spirit, inside as well as outside. And so the new value that we're putting out here is that we value our brothers, and we want our brothers to be excited about healing and valuing himself and becoming a warrior of wellness and holding himself accountable to be the best version of himself. And so the next, and I'm pretty sure Brother Aziz is going to share the slides with you all. Y'all can go to queenafua.com. Again, wherever you're at in the world, you can sign up with us. The next semester opens up in the mid-September, and we look forward to having as many brothers enrolled and going through the journey and going through the protocol with us to support our men. Because like I said, beloved, our women have been leadership as far as self-care, but the women have been doing the best they can to hold the mother signal. We have to create a support for the fathers to move farther. Yes. We have to support the fathers in his restoration. Like, where does dad go to get his charge? Where does dad go to get his support? The women need him to be who he is. The children need him to be who he is. But where does dad go when dad needs to unblock and unlock, when dad needs to talk about a transgression that happened at 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old? How can dad heal? And that's what we're saying. Man, heal thyself. Come along with your brothers and go through the healing. Take that time machine back to a time that you didn't forgive, and that you were holding grudge, and you was holding disconnect. And let's work on healing that. So today, in your present self, you can hug the child version of yourself and tell your child version, you have him. You have what it takes to be strong and resilient for him. That's what Man Heal Thyself is about. All men are hurting. Black, white, Asian, African, right? All brothers are hurting. No matter what race or class you go to, when you see the destruction and the ego, that's man hurting, because he has his proper rites of passage from a young man to an older man. There's no way to transmute the energy. So Man Heal Thyself is a revolutionary call for man's healing globally. We can correct us. Our women can only hold space like the womb does, but only man can correct himself to be the best version of himself. And only we are each other's responsibility to get the job done. So that's my charge to you all. Y'all can get the book on Amazon, Man Heal Thyself, right? And you can join us. Also, The Holistic Remedy by Supernova Islam. Join us in the next semester formation. And I'm opening up the floor if y'all have any questions for me. Ashe, wellness salute,
Ashe.
Wellness warrior salute.
Ashe, and thank you, dear brother. Thank you so much. And what we're going to do, you're the only one who can call Queen Afua mom, but Queen Afua is online now. So we're going to go to the Queen, Supernova, and defer to the Queen until she concludes. So family, brothers and sisters, please take your devices off of mute and receive our beloved Queen Afua, who is in the room with us. Welcome, Queen Afua. Welcome to Spiritual Injection.
Welcome.
Welcome, sister.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome, Queen Afua. Beautiful to see you.
Thank you. So glad to be here. I'm so glad to be with my community globally. Thank you.
Honor and a privilege. Well, we just heard from the fruit of your womb, Queen Afua.
I said he was like an atomic bomb.
So, as Priest Kailash taught me in St. Lucia, to say to our guests, the throne is now yours. So please share with your people from the UK, or who are living in the UK, living in Paris, living in Holland, living in Denmark, living in Serbia, living throughout Europe and in the Caribbean, and also in Africa. And this Zoom call is being translated in real time into the French language. So please, Queen Afua, the throne is yours. Please share with your people what you have on your heart.
Well, I'm traveling around the world today, right here, and I'm very grateful. I'm sharing two parts. One is the detoxification of our people. I have been on a healing quest for my community globally for the last 50 odd years. And it started as for me as a teenager. So it's really my transformation went from a micro to a macro. Some of you may have some of the issues that I had, and which was I had chronic asthma, allergies, eczema, arthritis as a teenager, PMS, headaches, all of that was going on. But I was living a toxic fast food, flesh eating lifestyle diet. And it had its impact. And it was going to be shortening my lifespan, and the quality of life was very challenging. Whenever attack would come, I was becoming immobile. Well, I went on a 3-day detox. I didn't know that's what it was. It was a vegetarian at that time lifestyle, 3-day intensive. And I came with all those issues, and I was instructed spiritually when I was hitting the attack came on, because the plants and the pollen and the asthma and the eczema and the allergies, and my mind started shutting down, and I was getting nervous. I said, what am I going to do? And I did not have my medications. I didn't know what was going to happen. And immediately I was told, eat grapefruits, lemons, and oranges. I asked, what am I going to do? That was impeccable listening. I wrote a small book about 6 months ago, Impeccable Listening. That was my moment that changed my life. And I heard eat grapefruits, lemons, and oranges. I asked, I listened, and then I asked. I looked to my left, it was a cafeteria. My suitcase was put down. I went right to the cafeteria, and there was grapefruits, lemons, and oranges, and rose hips tea. And I did that the whole day. And I heard, while I was going through, I heard one of the teachers that was at that healing retreat, Dr. Johnny Moore, master herbalist. And he was talking about the plants and the miracle of the plants, herbs to heal the body, and vegetarian lifestyle. It was so amazing to me because I never heard anything like that. I was 17 years old. That night, I propped up pillows like I'm sitting up now. There was a fireplace because as an asthmatic, I couldn't lay down. If I lay down, my lungs would have just collapsed. So I would sit up because it would happen from time to time. That heat was going into my lungs while the citrus was cutting up that mucus that we call asthma. That next day I woke up, and between the heat, the water, the alkaline water, the lemons, the grapefruits, the oranges, and getting new information of possibilities of wellness, holistically speaking. And I came out of the bathroom after an hour of mucus was draining out of my eyes, my nose, my mouth. And then I looked over to my left, and there was a book called Dick Gregory, Cooking with Mother Nature. That changed my life. I understand about writing books and how it can impact one. So I picked that book up, and I went home with him, his wife, and 9 children from the book. And I began to fast and to juice and to take juice therapy and herbs that I learned while I was there. And it took me 2 21-day cycles to change my life. And all of those issues that I mentioned left me. The asthma, the allergies, the hay fever, the eczema, the arthritis, the PMS, the headaches, all left me. And I became so excited about wellness. And I started to look at my people and said, oh, I saw somebody limping. I learned that they could use clay and turnip and dark greens to repair the bones and joints. And then I saw someone who's with shingles and eczema over the body. I said they can use celery juice to heal that. And then someone who was stressed out, and they can take kale and chard and dark greens and every single issue that we have. I've learned that there is an antidote in nature. It's in the foods, it's in the juices, it's in the herbs, it's in the teas, it's in the bath, it's in the movements, it's in the affirmations, it's in the journaling, that whatever we need based on air, fire, water, and earth, those are the elements that make up our body, that those bodies are corresponding in nature. And that is what I teach from. Because my air was out of order. That was my asthma. That's for those who suffer from asthma and allergies. So I had to clean up my lungs and my sinus. And then my blood was toxic. which would give me the headaches. And so I had to clean up my blood with the echinacea and the dandelion, for example. And since then, I have created formulations for all those issues, 103 issues. I've created a system of healing and well-being. And if there's constipation, and in America, at least the average person suffering from constipation and cancer of the colon is the highest form of cancer in the United States. So I know what's happening here is happening there. And we're suffering due to a lack of knowledge. And that's okra, flaxseed, water, abdominal massage, inversion can flush that out. And that would help for those men who are suffering from prostate blockage and prostate issues. And women suffering from fibroids. So it's in nature. I'm here to teach that everything that you need to heal yourself is already available to you. And sometimes these are right in your space, but you cannot see them because you're not ready for the healing. But when you call out your wellness and your healing, it will show up. And maybe it is today. And so with that awareness, I have a campaign for my people's resurrection. And that is to help to create and assist that there be a healer in every family and that there be a wellness center in every home. That is the key. If we get to that key, we unlock our wellness. And then we realize that healing is not outside the home, that healing indeed is inside of your home and inside of you. And if there's one healer, any one of you on this call right now, if you say, I am the healer for my family, even if you're not feeling well, if you take the step with me and join me, and I do, then you will have enough information in 21 days to begin to take care of your health and your well-being, whether it be diabetes or high blood pressure, or with your mother has aches and pains in her body, or your husband has stress and depression, or you have fibroid tumors and cysts, whatever that is, we have to create the healing in the home. So I take you through, it's a 10 digital series. I take you from room to room, introduce you to your room. The kitchen is your kitchen healing laboratory. That's your pharmacy of wellness. The bathroom is no longer a bathroom, it's your hydrotherapy room. And that hydrotherapy room, you take your baths, you take your enemas, you take your neti nose cleansing, you take your healing showers, your self-massage within that water system, just like in your kitchen lab. You take your soups, you take your salads, you take your dressing, you take your nutrients, you take your herbs, all of that, whatever the issues are, you will heal that up in that lab. In the bathroom, you will wash it out in the bathroom. And in your bedroom, that is your regeneration chamber. That is where you do an ancient African movement that it's said in the first written text of African spirituality that in this position that I was mentioned of, this inversion, that you can bring your soul back to life. But when I start to look at that pose, that posture, you can actually bring your life back to life. One inversion, everybody can do that. 3 pillows at the foot of the bed. You lay down every night, put your feet up on those pillows, your legs are higher than your head. 15 minutes in the evening, and before you put your feet on the ground, 15 minutes before you put your feet on the ground in the morning. That inversion, you start to do that. Well, you know what it's going to do? Everything. It's going to cause circulation to the legs if you have varicose veins, to open up those arteries. It's going to get rid of the swelling in the ankles, which is all this inflammation. It's going to reset your core. It's going to pull up your bladder in the prostate, so it's not prolapse. It's going to help pull up the bladder so that you're not having uncontrollable elimination. It's going to pull up the colon so the colon begins to break up the congestion, because while you're massaging your core, you're doing your deep breathing. It's going to allow circulation to get to your heart so you won't have to have a heart attack, even if it's in the family. You won't have to have an aneurysm because the blood is a lack of flow. It's a lack of circulation. So if you're drinking your water throughout the day, and you're having your salads throughout the day, 2 salads a day, and you're having a fruit bowl for cleansing, and you're having your avocados to regulate your colon and get your protein, and of course, other beans and peas and lentils. And I'll teach all that, and I talk about that in this 10-digit series. So those 3 rooms alone, and then you have your living room. It's not a television room where you get other people's madness and confusion. It is a room where you plan and you strategize with your family to become entrepreneurs. Those who come for Sacred Women, particularly, I see the Sacred Women, 90% of those who become entrepreneurs because they start cleaning up and they start connecting to their power and their majesty and their well-being. And the things that what they came on this planet to do, they begin to live that out. And I become the example for them. And for the man heal thyself, the same thing. With Supernova Sun Hip Hop Medicine Man, the Minister of Wellness, they also, the men begin to tune in. And when you have a healthy woman and you have a healthy man, and when they come together, they bring forth organic, healthy children. And now you have a nation building equation that I've watched over and over again. During the pandemic hit, it was coming in February. And then March, it was solid. And I remember getting a phone call, and actually in March, people started calling me, Queen, what should I do? What should I do? And I felt very confident. We have just 53 years. I said, I know it's about boosting up your immune system. Yes, it's about clearing out their respiratory system. So it's all in nature. It's all in the garden. You go to the garden, you will heal yourself. And you have to let go of all the toxicity and the junk and the fast and the fried and the microwave and the GMO. And in this, you have a backyard, you have a windowsill, you have soil, you can start to plant your herbs, you can start to plant your foods so you can become empowered. So with that being said, I remember getting a call from Black Girls Rock, Beverly Bond, and she said, Queen, our community, we're panicking. We don't really know what to do. I said, I'm so glad you called because I know exactly what to do. So I came on for an hour and I spoke about the things that you can do to heal thyself. And when I came off, she said, can you stay with us longer? It was 6 months later. I was coming every week, giving information, inspiration, and guidance on how to empower yourself and your family. And when you empower, one from the micro, from the inner, it spreads. I have this affirmation. I said, the people make up the city. When you heal the people, you heal the city. So I and I have a book called The City of Wellness, Restoring Health of the 7 Kitchens of Consciousness. It's not just Sacred Woman, or many know me from Sacred Woman, a guide to heal the feminine body minds, but I'll speak on that in a moment. But in terms of the heal thyself, to begin to the City of Wellness, the city is made up of a lot of violence and fear and suppression and pain and suffering. So that's what the city is made of, because why? It's not the city, it's the people. It's inside the people. Inside the people are feeling pain and suffering and fear, lack and limitation. If your neighbor feels that way, and your family members feels that way, your co-workers feel that way, because everybody's in a cesspool, in a trap, that means that's the community. And that community spreads out from the micro to the macro. And that means the whole city is contaminated. Right now, the world is contaminated. Everybody has to start cleansing. All of a sudden, people are waking up to wellness and holistic healing. They're hearing me. Before it's like, I'll get to it. But it's got to us. Right. And it's not just your diabetes and your high blood pressure anymore. It is impacting everyone. But we can shift that. The power to heal is within it. I'm here to encourage you that you don't have to be a victim to disease, that you in fact be well, and you can empower your family, and you can spread this wellness throughout your community, throughout the land. And so in the 10 digital project, it is that we're able to heal, and we can do it in our home, and we can fully be empowered. The other side of my work, or another portion of my work, I have a school. And the name of my school is the Queen of Full Wellness Institute. So we have Sacred Women's Rites of Passage. And Sacred Women's Rites of Passage is for all the women from all the spiritual houses. That's what's so dynamic about that work that was given to me from the Most High. We have Muslim sacred women. We have Christian sacred women. We have Yoruba sacred women. We have Hebrew Israelite sacred women. We have Akan sacred women. We have Buddhist sacred women. All women come together, and they come intact with their own spiritual house. So we can pray together for our well-being. And Gateway to Gateway is actually medicine. It's all holistic medicine. from the gateway of Newt, that's about womb healing. So women who are suffering from fibroid tumors, and see, this is that critical mass. Again, when the book Sacred Women came out in 2000, 45% of Black women had fibroid tumors. And now fibroid tumors can lead to hysterectomy by the time she's 50 years old or in her latter 40s. Then it's like, okay, the fibroid is grown back a second time. Why? Because the lifestyle has not changed. And so it goes, but now in all the technology, it's 90% of Black women with fibroid tumors. And of course, the fast food industry has prospered, it has grown. And so it's a connection. And the stress in our community has grown, and it's all in our community. And so, but we have power to heal and shift that. So if that be the case, that first gateway is the gateway of Mother Newt, of Sky Mother from within and out. And I give you the 25 ways, 25 rejuvenation techniques. I give you the womb fruit julep. I give you the clay and the juice therapy and the inversion therapy and the self-massage and all of these ways in which to heal the body temple. What I'm saying before you, these are my products. It's my product line. And this product line covers 103 diseases, along with the digital teaching, because then you can take the products. It takes a minute to get there to the UK, but what is there right now is the lifestyle. That's 50% of the equation that you can get with the lifestyle, which are the teachings, and then you get your formulas, then your wellness is secured. So what you see before you see these products have been out for the last over 35 years. So, and I cannot keep them on the shelf. From the Green Life Nutritional Formula that gives you eternal youth and vitality because it restores the brain, the immune system, the nervous system, the heart, the blood. That's the Green Life Formula, which you will take it 3 times a day as a liquid breakfast, a liquid lunch, and a liquid dinner 30 minutes before your meals. You'll have this powerful dynamic energy. So if you wake up tired, go to sleep tired, have a headache, 21 days, it will be gone. And of course, you're going to be on a lifestyle to support, because you could take all the vitamins and herbs and everything, but if you're toxic and you're not going to shift, then the problems will persist. And so with that, we then have the master herbal formula to detoxify your cravings, so you won't crave. Cravings in the bloodstream, you clean out the blood, you clean out the cravings. You want to get up the chicken, the fast food, the junk, the cigarettes, the coffee, the drugs. You got to clean up that blood, and it could be passed down through the bloodline. So you have to clean up the bloodline, starting with yourself. And then we have our colonies to flush out the colon after the colon burst for 15 years. And then we have all the other formulas, the breath of life for the lungs, the clay for aches and pains. That's your kit, that's your formulation. So inside of Sacred Women, again, you go from womb healing to healing. The word is medicine, to food as medicine, each gateway, to movement as medicine, getting out the various traps. Right now in the hip hop world, it's trap music, yes, trap kings, and trap queens. I said, whoa. So there's a trap. The prison is a trap. Our state of mind is a trap, but we feel that we cannot break through the system of toxicity is a trap. Your job that you hate is making you sick, causing your blood pressure to rise. These are traps. Your relationships that you keep holding on to that are harming you and they're violent, it's a trap, but you can set yourself free. And it's raising your frequency. The higher the frequency, the greater the healing. And it's liberation to purification in that high frequency. And I want to just say this, I do look forward. I think I've been to the UK 8 times. And the amazing thing, when I would go into one room with 300 people in there, brothers and sisters, there would be people from South Africa in the same room, from the Congo in the same room, from Nigeria in the same room, from Ghana in the same room, from Tanzania in the same. That was amazing to be with Africans from out the whole world of Mother Africa. And so I look forward to come again and to be able to come with the teachings of teaching Sacred Women during an intensive day of Sacred Women. Prayerfully, man heal thyself. So no will be able to come and teach the medicine for the men, and they can detox from all the various tribes of our people, and to bring the healing into the home so that we know that the power to heal us is in us and we can create that. And we have our teens, to have our sacred teens that we're graduating, the Sacred Women, over 100 women are graduating here for the Sacred Rites of Passage. And 18 of our sacred daughters are also graduating, and Man Hill myself are graduating from the rites of passage. So it's online. So for those who want to join us, you can come online. You can be involved. For those who say, I'm nervous, I still need supernatural help, I can do private consultations to really carry you and walk you through and walk you right into your path of well-being. So that's some of the sharings. There's so much more, but I just want to introduce everyone, or reintroduce for those who know about the work and have the books and have already transformed their lives and are living testimonies of nature's call.
Fantastic. We got to show our appreciation, because not only are you a queen, you're a god.
What's that?
Not only are you a queen, you're a god.
Oh no, there's only one. I'm just representing the Most High.
He is the Most High God.
Oh.
He said, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. And the status that he has blessed you to attain is not one of just a mere mortal or even just the queen that you are, but you're also one whom he has clearly chosen to house his spirit and his knowledge, because you have a heart that is kind. Because what I find with many people who have knowledge, they're not kind people. And because they're not kind people, where they end up falling afoul of the blessing is in their lack of ability to share. So the blessing and the gifts stays with them and almost pollutes them because they don't have a kind heart. Please share with us what your thoughts are in regards to the importance of the heart of a person.
Woo! You have said everything right there. The heart, a whole nation, a whole African nation from the beginning of time, the beginning of civilization, was based on the heart. And the name of that principle is Ma'at. And the glyph for that is a scale. That's a so-called justice. That's not justice, but we are the ones who brought forth the spirit of justice in the heart. On one side of the scale is the heart. On the other side is a feather. Your heart has become as light as a feather. So it's very mystical. How does your heart become the size of a feather when there's negativity and violence? We are frequencies. We are energy waves.
Yes, ma'am.
When we feed our frequency with foods from the garden, from the Most High that has already planted for us everything we need from nature, and we take in the water to flush, and we take in the fruits and the vegetables and the roots from the earth, and we begin to really nourish ourselves, and we begin to open up, our frequency goes up. I read frequency. I've been doing it for 35 years. I read what your frequency is. So people say, well, I didn't do this night. I said, well, I'm seeing that your heart, that your blood, and look. So when I'm going to go back to the scales of Ma'at, a whole nation was based on the principle of the heart. So your heart must become balanced. How do you get a balanced heart? You have to detox. When you detox your system, then your frequency goes up, and the compassion, the mercy, the forgiveness, the love starts to emanate, and it cannot be contained. You won't hold malice. You won't hold jealousy. You will not be crabs in the barrel. You will not want to get back at your brothers and sisters. You'll want to resolve issues. It comes with the territory of well-being and wellness, because well-being is body, mind, spirit, and heart. And so one of the ways in which you can heal the heart is take a healing bath, or go to the ocean, but take a healing bath. It's right accessible in your home. Warm water is warm as you can handle it, because the water around you will make you flexible and help you to let go. Then put 5 drops of rose oil to heal your heart and give yourself self-love and self-care, or 5 drops of frankincense and myrrh to begin to purify. Light a white candle or light a candle in your consciousness to begin to clear the way. And then immerse yourself in the warm water, stay in for 30 minutes. Turn the lights off and go within. And 10 minutes into your bath, you're going to think of the person that you feel your heart is heavy from, who you are angry about, whatever that person may be. Call their name, look them up it's going to come in your mind's eye. You'll see them. And then there's a question that's going to set you free. The question is, what did you come to teach me? When you hear the answer come back at you, oh, it's going to say, that's the answer. Then you'll realize it was never the person. It was my frequency. So that means I have the power within me, the God in me, to raise my frequency each and every day, from the sunrise to sunset, to the 12 hours of the night, from sunset to 12 hours coming back up. If I raise my frequency, I will have a different relationship with my family on the highest level, with my community on the highest level, with humanity on the highest level. Doors will open that could not open before. The world will begin to support you greater than, because what you're doing is you are fully supporting yourself. If you picked up in that meditation that that person was not supportive to you, or they didn't keep their promises, and that was life, that was life threatening almost. But how many times have we broken our own promises? How many times did we tell ourselves, you know what, I'm going to change right now? And then you end up yelling at someone.
Yeah.
All right. Or how many times you said, I'm going to clean up, I'm going to fast, I'm going to change my diet. But by the time the sun sets, you're eating a piece of fried chicken. You know, how many times did we say we're going to clean up, and we don't really clean up? So if you've been breaking up promises with yourself, then that's going to reflect on another being coming to do the same thing. So if you realize that person doesn't have the power to shift my reality, that I have the power, and that becomes stronger and stronger each day. So people, I have a friend that said to me one time, she said, Queen, what are you doing today? She's my editor of my earlier book. And I said, well, I'm cleaning up my life. That's what I'm doing. She said, Queen, you've been cleaning up your life for the last 20 years. How much cleaning you going to do? I said, for the rest of my life, I'll be cleaning up my life. My mind, my thoughts, my attitude, my expressions, my food intake. And that is what I encourage everyone to do. If we keep cleaning up, our hearts will stay as light as a feather. And we'll hold no malice for our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, because when you start healing, you'll have more compassion for your mother. When you start healing, you'll have more compassion for your father. And they will shift because you should. I've seen enough miracles in families that I know that is to be true.
Yes. See, the problem I'm having is that you accepted this invitation to be here today, which I'm trying to think how I can justify letting you go when the time is.
That's right, brother. That's right.
You'll just have to find a way to get me over to the land.
Oh, like
enough love,
got to come back to London quicker or sooner than you had planned, because as Lise was saying, you know, we were discussing next year, but I think 2022, you're going to touch the soil of the UK.
I love that.
It's
love
great to have
family.
physical. Yes, ma'am. And I'm gonna do my damnness and get involved in.
Definitely.
As soon as this call is over, working
Absolutely.
on you over here, because our family in the US has had you for a long time. Now it's time to share the love.
It's that time. Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a question, Goddess Queen Afua. Now, the cleaning up, how difficult does the environment in which we live, contribute to such? Are we to master the environment, or are we to change environments if we're finding it difficult going into what we may perceive as impossible to do where we are? How important is it to just get up and leave, or try and master your environment alongside trying to master yourself?
The mastering of the environment is actually the mastering of yourself. Right. Because wherever you go, you will find yourself there. That is what I have found. Right. Wherever you go, you will find yourself there. It will still show up. That's why I said, check who are we carrying inside of us? The pain, the past, the hurt, the resentment. We go to another land, we find it again. So you cannot escape yourself. So wherever you stand, stand in wellness, stand in harmony, stand in cleansing, stand in purification, so that wherever you go in the world, it will reflect where you have taken yourself to. So the environment, but the environment is your inner environment. How is your inner environment? Do a checkup.
Yes.
How is your blood? What state is it? Is it toxic? Well, you can tell because you have a negative attitude and you're spewing out a lot of negative words. So I know already the blood is toxic. Do you have shortness of breath? That means you're not expanding your life, that you need to open up and see how the Most High is blessing you. Even when we look at the environment on the outside, the condition of the air is because of people. It's toxic. The condition of the water is because of the people. The topsoil being destroyed and the soil is weak. It's the condition of consciousness. So if we want to change our environment in our relationship environment, our family environment, the atmospheric environment, we must start from ourselves. The first book I wrote 30 some years ago was called Heal Thyself. It's still called Heal Thyself, it's still out there. It's Heal Thyself for Health and Longevity. You have to start with self. Self-transformation begins to shift the environment. So I have recognized as I matured on this journey that wherever I go, people welcome me. That means I've done a lot of internal work. And before I come to work, I do an intensive 7-day, 21-day cleansing. So when I come to that environment, that people will receive me well, and I'll be humble enough and strong enough and clear enough to give the message. So it's really, my relationships are within myself. When you don't have peace in yourself, you will have no peace nowhere in the world. If you have peace in yourself and you have well-being in yourself, and you're not carrying 10 people in your body who, I remember in my early days, I used to have a list. This person, that person did this to me in 1998. And that person did something to me and said something in 2001. And somebody did something else in 2003. You carry all these people inside of you because it's all your consciousness. You have to clean house. You have to clean up your inner environment. How long was that going to take? Well, we were born in some toxic environments, you know? Our mothers and fathers, but maybe not so on the higher level. So what they were eating, what they were drinking, what they was thinking, all of that is what makes up your DNA, which makes up your flesh and your bones and your blood. And when you come into the world, it still stays because what was happening on the inner plane is still happening in your life as a young person, as a teenager, as a young adult, as an older person. It just keeps going. So it's almost like a DNA trap and DNA entrapment. So, but we have to look around at our family and see this is where we're going. So if it's your family's the diabetes and high blood pressure and aches and pains, pretty much, fibroid tumors, it's in you. So your environment is the first way to start and to clean up your life. And so a pathway can open up for you is to really focus in for a whole season. You can start with day by day, 3-day intensive. I think I'd like to do a 3-day intensive in the UK with everyone. You can do it with a 21-day intensive, healing and cleansing and purging and bathing and juicing and fasting and eating whole foods and all of that. And then take that and move that into a full lifestyle of 12 weeks, a whole season. There's a reason why we have the spring cleaning and the summer, the hotter the weather, the deeper the cleansing. This is the season. And then it goes into fall. So through the you'll start with 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, 21 days. You just keep building, open up your clock and start to work through a whole season, work through 4 seasons of wellness, and you create a whole new world, a whole new economic level, a whole new relationship base, a whole new environment that feeds and supports your well-being. All of this is environment. What is Fantastic. On the inner plane is on the outer plane. It's all one.
Fantastic. I know Sister Sylvina is my co-host. She's itching to come in. But before I bring her in and bring back Supernova, I want to ask you one more question.
Yes.
The masses of our people, generally the male, seems to think that the solution to all of the problems is more money. If I make money, I can resolve all of my issues. What will you say to a generation whose main focus is more economic than spirituality? Than spirituality.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's called balance,
Mhm.
and you have to look at your full life.
Yeah.
It's about mental balance and harmony. A lot of people have a lot of money. They're very depressed and anxious, stressed out emotionally. Always running after the next dollar, the next deal, the next situation. So that's, if you don't have a base of your mental strength and your spiritual connection to source, the money can eat you up alive. A lot of people get money and they end up being alcoholics. They end up on drugs. They start numbing themselves out. They end up sexing, just, you know, this or that, because they have everything they can do and everything. But if they don't have a spiritual inner guidance and on harmony and balance and truth and righteousness, then they will mess up themselves with the wealth. Just like they're messing themselves up without it, they will continue to mess up themselves with a lot. So you have a lot more ways to hurt yourself. So it's very important to become a balanced human being. And so you have to get a rhythm of life. So you start your day. I always say, start my day with my inversion, bringing the soul back to life and connecting to me before I start connecting to the whole family and do this. You know, get connection with yourself. Do your prayers, your affirmation, because what you say is what you become. What you think, what you become. So that the money then goes to good. The money, the prosperity goes to well-being. The money is not to hoard and get more things. The money is to help your people too. I'm not doing this for myself. I know how to heal myself. That mission accomplished, I know more. That's in abundance. Now it goes out to my people. It goes out to the world. So when you have, then money will come, but the money will come in the state of harmony, balance, truth, and righteousness. Otherwise, you just get a lot of cars. Meanwhile, your people are dying all around you. You know, another mansion for a few $1 million, and your people are dying all around you. But maybe if you help to create farming, organic farming, with some of that money, you know, maybe you could create jobs for our community for some of that. Maybe you can get education through some of that funding, and then you will save generations to come.
And I tell you what I'm fascinated about is how you stumbled somewhat into your gift. Because it's not as if, you know, you went to this university, you went to this college. You seem to have stumbled into your gift. Speak to that for me, because in you analyzing self and being determined to fix these personal issues, we're on the Zoom now, across Atlantic, right? So in regards to people finding their gift, you know, and you finding your gift that is now helping people globally. Speak to us on that aspect of your journey.
Well, we are born with our gifts. I said that we have a treasure chest, each one of us inside of us. We just have to know how to mine, how to find it. But it's already there. And so I started off, as far as I was conscious as a teenager, I was going to be an artist, a dancer, a singer, an actress. That's what my plan. But the Creator had a master plan for me. And there's a that came out in 1969 in the 60s, and the name of it was Creator Has a Master Plan by Pharaoh Sonnets. That is my theme song that's been going on in my life for all those years, because I know that there is a divine plan for all of us, and that will cause peace and happiness throughout the land. So that is my motto, to move with that song and that flow. So the stumbling is, I was sick, and from the sickness, I was seeking wellness. I did not know where it was going to come from, but intuitively, I knew that it was there somewhere, but where is it and who can help me? I went to the top specialists, medical specialists, through my family. My mother and father made sure of that, but I was getting sicker, and the doctor had no more hope. He said she should live in a glass house as a teenager. that we've given her the most potent form of medication for her respiratory system, but she's getting worse. So soon, not too far away, I would have had a walking respirator, you know, and just plugging myself in. And that's not a life to live. So it wasn't a stumbling. It was, I had to go through a life of sickness to wake up. So some of you will wake up right now as you're listening and say, wait a minute, there's something better than this sickness. There's a way out. You mean I don't have to be sick? Because as you clean up, what will happen is you will see your gift. As you clean up, you will see your blessings. As you clean up, your prosperity will come. As you clean up, that book that's always been inside of you, it will come out. And I talk about it inside of the last gateway, the anniversary copy of Sacred Woman. It's called Mesh Connect. The symbol for Mesh Connect is a woman, a baby coming out of her, and she's in a squat. She's birthing herself. That was my interpretation. And she's holding on to bricks and she's bearing down, having a natural birth. Bricks are hard, but to birth your work can be hard. But when that baby comes out, it's like after 30 hours or 8 hours or 4 hours of breathing and processing and carrying that baby, then you hold on to the bricks and then you birth this baby. And that's what women are men are birthing their purpose. If you do not birth your purpose, you will never be happy or complete. Now that gateway tells you how to go through because I had to go back into my own consciousness. I'm always mapping myself.
Yes,
how did I get over that? How did I discover that? Where did it come from? I go into prayer. That's where I live. I live in prayer meditation. And I live intuitive.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you live intuitive? How do you make a living? How do you travel? How do you do everything intuitive? Because that's where God dwells within. Yeah. That's where you could tap into your indwelling healer and just ask any question and receive the answers to your quest. And that's where it came to me. I remember I was going to have a sit down with Laura London. And we know Nipsey Hussle, they were mates. He's very diligent in the spirit, I must add. And she became a student of mine because he encouraged her while he was in his body. Furthermore, he saw her transformation. He loved her transformation. The transformation was good for the union. She stayed steadfast. She stayed with me. She stayed her healing. She stayed the course. And in that transformation, we grew. And she was very internal. She was a symbol for everyone that you can heal your heart. And she's in our docu-series. If you hit the docu-series, if you don't see anything else, look for that one because she gives a testimony of Sacred Woman. And you know how that was for her made to be taken from his family in that violent way. But she found herself inside of that. And sometimes go through just great trauma to find ourselves, to find greater gifts inside of us. She did the healing in her that has been unearthed, you know? And so for everyone who's looking for that gift, that treasure, I want you to see yourself as a treasure chest.
Absolutely.
Open it up and you will discover your grace, your beauty, your prosperity.
Absolutely. Your son has to leave, Queen. So he just wants to come and give greetings before he leaves. So Nova, please come through. Please. So let brother come through. Supernova.
Minister of Healing for Man Heal Thyself, Wellness Warriors. I want to say something, but while he's coming through, I would say something in his behalf and Hallelujah Walcott, his spiritual cousin. That work is so massive for our men because it unifies us. See, one of the things, my father was a Garveyite, and one of the things he would tell me, I was the one who listened to him, that the way back to ourselves is to unify, to come together, no matter our spiritual house, no matter our economics, no matter our financial status. If we can unify, then we would be able to build and grow and be empowered together as a mighty force from here to the motherland, from here to the UK, where we are in the world. So that's what Man Heal Thyself does. So, yeah.
And I was on a call, I was telling you earlier, I was speaking into a conference in St. Lucia with our Rasta community. And one of the things that one of the priests stated is, as a Garveyite, that unity is for the strong and disunity is for the weak. Because it's only the strong who are willing to overcome the challenges to stay together. Where the weak, they're very quick to run and, you know, try different things as opposed to trying to make that which they're involved in work, you know, by any means necessary. So it looks like Nova might have already left. And so we will circle back with our great brother, absolutely, hopefully maybe later, if not at another time. But my co-host, Queen Afua, Sister Sylvina, I know she's worked hard with me for 3 years, and I'll never hear the last of it if I don't allow her, you know, Queen to speak. So welcome, Sister Sylvina.
Thank
Queen
you.
Afua, this is my co-host.
Greetings.
Greetings. You're making me wanna do this. I'm like, so you know, you said in every sentence you say there's so many profound things that really, you know, I'd need to go back over and give some thought to. But one of the things that you've mentioned a few times is adopting the programs as a lifestyle. And I was wondering, because I was wondering, what would you say are the fundamental principles behind maintaining that lifestyle, both practically and spiritually, in terms of adopting that lifestyle that will, you know, give your life to quote you?
Well, one of the things that I teach is elemental healing. And because we're made up of the elements, air, breath in our lungs, and atmosphere, fire, cleaning up our blood, restoring our blood. That's sunlight, literally sunlight, and water. We are made of 75% water. And so from bathing to drinking to fasting, water treatments, to going to the ocean, to a waterfall, to the earth, taking our roots, our herbs, our plants, our dark greens, feeding the bones, which the bones of the world are rocks and crystals and mountains. Inside of us are bones and joints, which means everything that is outside, that's inside, that needs to be healed, you can take it to nature and rejuvenate and fortify and repair yourself. So it is to use those elements, but the top of those elements, I was speaking to my daughter, a friend of hers came to visit her to pick up a tonic. So she went downstairs to get the tonic. She came back upstairs and he was on the floor. And he's a comedian, so she thought he was just playing. And she said, you know, get up. And then he stayed there, he would not move. And she called me, I said, well, put a cold towel on him. She's in New York, in LA. I said, put a cold towel on him, give him the green light in his mouth, you know. And I said, and so she was nervous. I said, call the ambulance. When he got to the hospital, he had a stroke. Now, this is his body breaking down, right? But it was amazing because I was there a month before and I was saying, now, listen, when you're about 45 years old, he's almost 45, I said, your body starts breaking down. Your prostate starts leaving, erectile dysfunction, your memory starts fading. If you don't do something about your health, then the bones start decaying, and then your body starts caving in. Then the kidneys, the melanoma and kidney dialysis, women as well. I started giving him the full list, but I was smiling to him and said, you better get with this healing. I did not know that that was his final call. I did not know that at the time. But right now, my daughter said, Ma, he's been in the hospital for 2 weeks. She said, he's now a vegetarian. And she brings the green juice in because now he's coming out of it. And the nurse took the green juice from her and gave it to him. The doctor was an Indian doctor, because they know about natural living, plant-based, and that's their culture, which is our culture. We're not aware of it. Plant-based is our culture. We've gone straight from it, but we are on our way back home. And so the doctor said, please give him that. So as a result, he came out of the emergency level, and they took the tubes out of him. And now they took him to the 5th floor. And then she said last night, she says, and they're working on the neural work, the brain work. I said, what's happening? They have to connect his brain to his body. And the more they connect the brain to the body, then the body will start to come alive. I said, I'm gonna be there in a few days. I'll help him to connect. I'll see what part of the brain that it's all about, because I can read it energetically through radionics. And then I will give him the nutrients, and I'll pump his brain back up. So there'll be a mind connection to his liver, the kidney, the blood, and the whole body's gonna start moving and being. That's what I know for sure, because that's what I do. That's what I teach. So it's those elemental healings from the ether, the consciousness, down to air, fire, water, earth. Feed them, nourish them, build them up from within. Then all of a sudden, the diabetes is going, the high blood pressure is going, the fibroid tumors are going, the depression, the bad attitude, the lack and limitation, it starts leaving you, drop away. Meanwhile, you're building up. And that's the daily practice. That's the daily practice. So you need a teacher. Most people need a teacher. You can use it. You can use a book as a teacher. I've done it, and sometimes use them hands-on. So
thank you. And in terms of, I think actually Supernova's back on. Are you back on, brother, to say goodbye?
Yes, wellness salute.
How you doing, son?
Hey, Ma. How you doing? Ashe.
It's good to see you.
You look like grandma.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. yeah. You look definitely. Ashe.
Ashe. Yeah.
So we're just giving you a couple of minutes, brother, to say, address the
Oh,
audience.
okay. Well, again, thank you for having me. I appreciate the family. I look forward to definitely accompanying my mother one day to the UK to, really have an extensive time to build with the brothers around the importance of self-care and their wellness. Men we tend to value everything outside of ourselves but ourselves. And as a result, we continue to break down. And if the men and the fathers and the boys are breaking down, then the family is breaking down, the society and the world. So I just want to really double down on the importance of really giving the men the resources. I call it no excuse wellness. There's no excuses. We have an online training that we have partnership along with the Queen Afua Wellness Institute. So you can go to queenafua.com, and wherever you are in the UK, the Caribbean, and the motherland, North America or Canada, you can sign up and you can join us virtually just to really experience what is it like to hold yourself accountable to what I call the fraternity of holistic wellness, a fraternity of men that are pledging themselves to the best version of themselves holistically, regardless of what phenotype they look like, what landmass they come from, or what religious ideology that they are affirmed in. All men are welcome into the port of a holistic health and wellness. And so that's the call to action. I really pray that you all on this amazing building live really feel fired up about giving men the support they need to show up and continue to be the best of service to them, not only to their children and the women in their work in the world, but themselves. Because if men can really hold space, body, mind, and spirit to being the best version of himself, he can be of best service to his women, his children, and his sacred work in the world. Join us in the Man Heal Thyself 12-week initiative. It's coming up this fall. queenafua.com. And like my mother, Queen Afua, said, some people are in the transition and they need to text a book to be the teacher. You can go on Amazon right now and you can get the book by my mother and myself, Queen Afua. We've partnered as mother and son, Heru and Set and Ast, and we did the Man Heal Thyself Wellness Warrior's Journey to Self-Mastery. So this is a good text to get your young sons, men of all ages. This is the text that we use during the 12-week online Rites of Passage training. And we really want to just continue to inspire our brothers to really get excited about self-care, taking care of himself while he is on this planet, and so that he can leave a legacy, not of disease and disharmony, but legacy of power and being mighty. Ashe, Ashe.
Before you leave, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Because we want you to come back for a full interview. One day sooner rather than later, because we have to discuss men's health. Absolutely. One of the things I want to ask you, I was speaking to a young lady who smokes a little bit of weed. And I was saying to her, that, you got to stop smoking this weed, right? And her response to me was, look, it's just recreational for me. It doesn't cause any problems. The only people who have problems smoking weed are men because they hold in their stress. And when they smoke, they start to go too deep into themselves. And women constantly speak and express themselves where men harness their pain and harness their trauma and then go too deep when they smoke things like marijuana. What would you say to that young lady? Because when I heard it from her, I was like, I've never heard it put like that before. And she was very young, and it made all the sense in the world to me, when I really thought about it, And so what's your thoughts on that?
So we all have the same basic functions of lungs and breathing and oxygen. So it's not necessarily a gender-based thing, but masculine and feminine polarities have their expression. So I think it's not trapped in the modality of smoking herb, but it's dealing with the herb. You need the body. If you do indulge in that, right, you have to give your body time to restore and to rejuvenate from having that direct contact to the smoke on the lungs. And so mullein is a good herb and extract to take at least 3 times a day. If you have been taking a lot of cigar smoke, cigarette smoke, and weed, like directly on your lungs, at least give yourself 21 days to 30 days to flush it out and to recalibrate. So you can use mullein. Also, my mother's Queen Afua has a product called the Master Herbal Formula. I don't think it's individual. I think right now you can get it to the 21-day fasting that she has. So if you join the 21-day fasting program and whatever protocol you can, there's a tea combination with 13 herbs inside of that do a whole overall system detox. So I'm not here to be dogmatic and say what someone should and shouldn't do as far as that, but I would say give yourself some time. I would say, you should give yourself time.
The real point is the holding in of one's
No, I was going to get to that. I was giving you parts of it because that's a loaded, really abundant. Right? So I wanted to talk about just the weed and the responsibility of male or female, how you have to, really cleanse the lungs and give the lungs time to recalibrate. That has nothing to do with gender. Now, the deeper issue when we talk about men holding the aggression and holding stuff is what I was saying is necessary for rites of passage. See, all of our colonization globally to all the Aboriginal Black people, when it came, fundamentally, the rites of passage for the men and women was totally shattered. Women, for the most part, over time, were able to, sew back in the tenets of some type of passing on to women, right? For the men, it became an external gratification. Go out and conquer, go out and get this, go out. So everything's outside of yourself. Well, women was all internal, like my mother's crystallization around sacred woman. So whether it's weed, cocaine, drinking too much, popping mollies, it doesn't matter what that vice is. The brothers are hurt. They have trauma they're dealing with. And so some may sit in the modality of herb. Some may sit in the modality of drugs and alcohol, reckless sex, right? All of the tenets of him being over aggressive and not communicative, that's all going to come up no matter what modality he's into, unless he is supported in the reclaiming of himself, right? So he needs to know that he's sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he doesn't have to necessarily use a vice to trauma bond with himself. He can go deeper. And that's what I was trying to say. That's why I had to break it up a little bit. So, when you address the deeper issue of healing, and what is making a man go to a vice, not the vice, blaming him for smoking weed or drinking or drugging, but what is going on with him, or what has been going on with him that we could address and support him to overcome. And if he has the courage to get overcome and get back the sovereignty of his body, mind, and spirit, he may have a better angle and hand on how he distributes his life as far as trauma bonding with vices. And prayerfully, if he is committed to his wellness, he can overcome that. Ashe.
Ashe. Big respect.
Yeah.
I can see the queen is so overjoyed at the fruit, of her womb. So
I am totally agreement.
it's a great blessing to hear a family member speak with such clarity and such wisdom.
Well, she raised me, beloved, to be of service. This is why she poured into me, so I could be of service. She poured into me and make sure that the elders poured into me, is that I can go out and deploy into life and be of service to humanity. So I'm here of service, especially for my brothers, and giving them the support they need to reclaim their power, so they can also be of service to their families and their work in the world. Ashe.
Absolutely. And that is evident. But many pour, but don't necessarily get the result they poured in. But the blessing of your mother is such that the God is so pleased with her work that he has allowed her to be reproduced through you. So we're honored, we're privileged to have an extension of her, on the same Zoom.
And we are grateful, for all of you who are here, you beloved brother and sister, and all the brothers and sisters here, Brother Aziz, because see, we're here in the Zoom as a culmination of all of our relations. All of the ancestors that are in our DNA are in the room right now. See, we may be the physical host, but all of that memory and journey is here. That means there are millions of us on this call. And so we think that it's just us we're speaking to, but we are the culmination of our mighty ancestors' dreams manifested in the Zoom. So just how you are happy and excited to have me, my mother here, me and my mother are so delighted and excited to be able to build and to share with our family in, throughout the diaspora, the UK and abroad. It's just an honor, and we are definitely of healing service to you all. Ashe.
Ashe. And I'm getting requests in the...
When Nova talked about service, it's true. When he was 12 and 13 years old, and I was seeing a client who had a teenager with some issues, and he would be going past my office. I said, no, could you come in here now? I need you to encourage this young person, because they're not quite hearing me, but they may hear you. Well, you welcome them into wellness. So that has been going on. Man, heal thyself. I said, Nova, we need you to teach this training. The men need it. The women are crying for help. They're having issues in their families. They're not on the same page. Women are healing. The men are not taking it on. Please help. So he said, he like, okay, he did it. And him and Hauser did a masterful job. So I do recommend those who are willing and, ready and able to take the long distance journey. We're all on Zoom. We're all communicating. And then you'll be able to come with us possibly at the top of the year for our graduation, our ascension, when we come together for 3 glorious days of building and healing and celebrating after going through the gateways for the women and the Arit, the energy, spirit, energy forces for our men. And that will help to keep our families together, because there was 3 couples were on the brink of a divorce. And when the man began to heal and the woman was healing, they brought the family together. And their love returned. Their hearts were restored. Talking about the hearts were restored. So I want to say thank you, Supernova, for the ability to go forward.
Before you go, Supernova, please give us dates, and if we have the flyers, let's please.
Yes, Aziz has information. Yeah, while you're pulling up. It's in September. It's coming up. Towards the end of September is when we start. So you have between now and the next 30 days to register. We're Queen of Four. This is queenof4.com or manhealthyself.queenof4.com. That's manhealthyself.queenof4.com. while I have your time, someone asking in the chat, is Western services of counseling, I guess they're saying, better than African-centered holistic treatments? I would say, when you look at the state of the Black man and woman in humanity, we need all hands on deck, right? So it's like at this phase, it's not a bad thing. We need everybody to contribute whatever they can with wellness and support to get all of us back into shape. So I'm not here to say whatever Western principles are for mental health versus African. I think we need all of them because, right, we've been westernized, right? Yeah. All of us have been westernized globally, right? So even in the westernization, if there are tenets that we can begin to exercise with holistic health and mental health, right, we can use our African-centered traditions along with the Western traditions and create, like my mother say, a jollof, a pot of awesomeness to begin to address our trauma. Right. So we're not in the state, beloved, that we could pick and choose. We need all of the greatness of our people. That means the greatness of the Nation of Islam, the greatness of the Yakan, the Yoruba, the greatness of the Kemites, the greatness of the South Africans, the greatness of the foundational Black Americans, right? The greatness of Latin America, of our people in Brazil, Bahia. We need all of our ancestral greatness on deck. We don't got time to say this way is better than that way. We need all ways to the glory, all ways to restoration, all ways to purification. It's not Dr. Sabi's way versus Queen Afua's way. We need all ways to wellness, right? Why are you set tripping my mother versus Dr. Sabi? I am Queen Afua's product. I'm 45 years. I have no health disparities, no cancer, no prostate issues, right? I'm not protein deficient. I weigh 205 pounds solid muscle. I'm Queen Afua's example. So, right? But then you have others that are our beloved Dr. Sabi's example. Why are we set tripping and going back and forth? Right? We are the glory of all of our traditions. We are the glory of Dr. Africa and other healers that came before. So we don't have no time to continue the field versus the house Negro concept. We need all the ones in the field and all the ones in the house. I need it, right? We need all of the ones in the field and we need all in the house. We need all the light skins, all the dark skins, all the ones in the Caribbean and Africa, the foundational Black. Give me all the ones. I want the Black Indians, the Black Africans, the Black Caribbeans, the Black, wherever you at, whatever you call yourself. I want the most powerful Muslims, the most powerful Christians, the most powerful Hebrew Israelites, the most powerful Kemites. Wherever there's power, there is us. Why are we set tripping? That's how we got conquered, because we were set tripping and tribal tripping. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from the UK. I'm from the foundational Black American. I'm light skinned. I'm mulatto. That's how globally the majority of the melanated people are conquered to today. Because we are set tripping and based on tribe.
Beautiful.
We don't have the tribe concept, don't work no more. It's called intertribal. We have to use the tenets and principles and the power from all tribes to move to this next rites of passage globally. If one tribe had the answer, we've already seen it. We need all tribes on deck, all wisdom on deck, all sacred mothers on deck, all sacred fathers on deck. This is my mother, Queen Afua, said, this is a global call to healing. And I'm fired up and I'm excited because of the ancestors. I ain't got no time to set you on the ancestors. The ancestors got me fired up.
Yes,
I hope that you are fired up, and may we continue to each one reach one. Ashe. Salam alaikum.
Wonderful. Salam. I'm so glad you came back.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Absolutely on fire.
There's an explosion.
Go ahead, soldier. Beautiful.
And in truth, being fired up is the only way to be today. because we just can't have any passive brothers and passive sisters. It's just outdated. We have to
Outdated.
about what we believe in.
That's
You know,
share that energy.
I just want to thank you both. I know our time is spent now, and we have a million questions in the chat. And if we start answering one, we're going to be here until tomorrow. So what we're going to do is make a note of all of the questions. And when we have you here in London in person, we will revisit these questions in person. So Queen Afua, would you like to leave with us some closing remarks?
Yes, I want to just say, this is an affirmation. It's 2 in 1. One is from Heal Thyself, one is from the City of Wellness. It says, the power to heal is within me, and I have the mighty power to heal myself. Yes. Second, I am a healer, affirm it, and I can heal myself and all my relations. For all my relations are my reflection. Therefore, as I heal myself, I heal all my relations. All powers to the people, liberation and purification. Thank you. Thank you to my family. I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Queen Afua. Thank you, Supernova.
Thank you, Zippy.
Thank you, Spiritual Injection family. For those
beautiful. What a session.
Sorry, Queen, wonderful. We spoke over you. Please, go ahead.
Oh, me?
No, I thought I was speaking whilst.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Thank you, beloved. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Spiritual Injection, please show your love for Queen Afua and Supernova.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant.
That was beautiful.
Thank you for your time. That was brilliant.
What a blessing from the God.
Excellent.
Thank you, Brother Minister.
So
thank
you, Brother Minister. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Minister.
Thank you, Sister Queen Afua, and
Thank you, Spiritual Injection. Thank you, Brother Minister.
Thank you.
That was priceless.
The book signing at Bob Lord's shop. He was so proud. This Heal Thyself book. I healed myself. I opened up a Heal Thyself center. He was like a godfather.
So from day one, I saw her, the work she was doing with the women, as being a lady of the house, a Nebet Het.
Nebet Het. So he said, yes, because you're the lady of the house, the heavenly realm. You help women. I know, but Nebet Het, sacred woman, 12 weeks, rites of passage. And I was doing a lot of prayers before I got permission from the Most High. I asked the Most High, how do I do this? Is it a retreat? Is it a year? Is it a season? What is it? Is it a weekend intensive? So I was given the formula. And then I was able to take the glyphs, the yoga, the breath, the culture, the feminine principle, and the rebirthing, and bring it all together, and Abuim Ka'at, new yoga begins. We are resurrecting the women, the men, the community, with the full moon as our support. So it was all in the spirit. I said, okay, Creator, it's going to be like that? Well, it was like that. Then the moon was behind the clouds. And I said, everyone look up at the moon. And we just go, la, 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 right? You connected to me, I'm connected to you, and I'm in my fullness, and we was in our fullness.
My eyes are green, 'cause I eat a lot of vegetables. Queen said, no, get the herbs, get your pot, get over your pot, bless your womb, get your frankincense, and just, take in the mirror and looking at your vagina for the first time, and just connecting and speaking those affirmations into your womb.
They say our way is dead. They say our way is no more. And that the ancient healing Nile Valley legacy in the thousands of years ago. But we are here, and we do remember sacred women. It is large in our DNA, tapped down deep in our melanin, our chromosomes, so we travel deep within.
in not wanting to live and not feeling like you have a purpose or that you're enough to exist, spiritual practice reminds you that it doesn't take everything you think. It just be.
And we fasted and we prayed. And then one day, one by one, then two by two, then thousands began to wake up to the ancient healing Now Valley legacy. And we are here, and we do remember.
Fantastic, 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 fantastic.
Absolutely.
So family, thank you for a wonderful evening, a very blessed evening. And we hope and pray that you really think deeply about what was shared today and really appreciate the fact that we were honored, we were blessed by Queen Afua and Supernova. And God willing, next week we will go into part 2 of the best diet to have in this day and time.